Talks. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to share my special guest and good friend, Regina Gulbinas. Welcome, I'm so excited.
Thank you.
My words are coming out of places I don't even know, but I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share who Regina is. Regina Gulbinas is a life and business coach and a strategist for large corporations, and she is a high performance coach. So not your average, coach. She's a high performance. So anyone there that is running a business, a nice business, will relate to that. Will appreciate what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be talking about money. I can talk about money all day long.
Same.
All day long,
here.
And, and we all need money. We need money to eat. We need money to drive a car. We need money to, the moment you get up in the morning from bed, it costs you money.
Correct, yes.
Right?
Correct, yeah.
So that's why we have you, Regina. And I personally had the experience of, having you coach us in my company. And that was very, very uplifting, inspiring.
Thank you.
Things have changed. I have to say that changed for the.
I'm very happy to hear it. Makes me happy.
Right, thank you. And your advice was straight to the point. You like how you shoot into the point.
Very precise.
Precise, yeah. Exactly, and it was very, very helpful. So we're going to be talking about money, and I have so many questions from so many people.
Good, good.
People asking so many, I want to start a business. My business is not doing well. Right now, the virus and the quarantine, my business went, lots of businesses closed.
Correct.
People couldn't pull through, even with all the governmental help and assistance. A lot of businesses weren't doing very well before the virus. So you'll touch on that note.
Yeah.
But I want to really touch something super sensitive.
Let's go.
And it's very personal to me because a while ago, I heard somebody say about this term, that if you have a poor man's mentality, there is very, very little chance of you really understanding money.
Correct. You want me to talk about that?
Yeah, can you elaborate on that? Yes.
I think saying with poor man's mentality, there is a little chance. I think it's being generous. I don't know if there is a chance, and here is why. In order to grow, you have to make bold decisions. You have to take risk. It's like not planting a seed and expecting it to grow, right? In order to grow, when it comes to a business, you have to make bold moves. You have to make investments. You have to make certain financial decisions that are going to be profitable long term. Poor man's mentality says, how much can I save versus what can I invest? Poor man's mentality says, I'd rather buy it cheaper or make it cheaper quality versus making it better and more expensive. Because in order to make something, if I'm producing these cups, and I'm a business owner, if I have poor man's mentality, I'm going to produce at the lowest cost so I can sell it less, but it's less quality, right? I'm going to be afraid to invest more into my inventory, more into the space, more into equipment, more into people, because in order to do something, you have to go first. You have to put in some skin in the game. Okay. So poor man's mentality is always, how much can I save, not how much can I earn? How much can I cut back versus how much can I expend?
Okay.
How cheaper can I get versus how better can it be?
Right.
So I really don't know how it's even possible to achieve anything worth of value if you're just always on the side of pulling your direction versus putting it out there and making things happen. So that's what I say when people say it's not very possible to achieve anything with poor man's mentality. I don't know if it's possible to achieve anything with poor man's mentality. I think it was just generous to say that. Because even if you look at any business or even in relationships, even friendships, if we're stingy with the love and if we're stingy with that stuff, what kind of friendship are we going to have? Business is no different. If you want to have great employees, you have to pay them above average.
Okay.
If you want people to pay attention, if you want to have a superior product, you have to put money into the production and to create a quality product. So when people touch this cup, it feels like a quality product, right?
There's so many people right now are getting very, very worked up, and they're saying, what are you talking about? I run a business. My business is successful. I have people, I have this and I have that. I do not have, I save money. I do not have a poor man's mentality. But am I here where I want to be? Is my business where I want that business to be? I mean, is that a question that a person that was a poor mentality asks even herself?
Well, my question would be back to them if they're saying, well, I have a profitable business. My questions would be, tell me about the steps you've made to become profitable. And I guarantee you, in the steps that they've taken to become profitable, they were bold. They did take risks. They did spend money up front, right?
Okay.
So their information alone, how they got to success, will contradict them being upset with what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying don't save money. I'm not saying splurge everything, basically part of my French piss money away. I will never say that.
Right.
But a poor man mentality is a poor man mentality.
Right.
It's a different language. It's a different animal. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying when we understand the value of investment, the value of being brave, the value of paying, sometimes paying more. I, for example, there are certain things we prefer to pay more for,
Right.
because you get better quality.
Right. Right.
That's it.
And another person would say it's a waste of money. It's somebody to say, why would I pay more for something that I can get it as a bargain? People love bargains. They will drive.
I love bargains.
They will drive, miles, hundreds of miles to get that car that's like 30,000 less than what it is. So is that also falls into the kind of mentality of, this is leading you to a poor house. Those kind of decisions?
No. I mean, I love bargains as well. I just don't believe in splurging and spending money, just stupidly, so to speak. But when it comes to a business, for example, if you have a business and you pay employees $10 an hour, and I have the same business, but I understand the value of paying them $20 an hour, where do you think they're going to last longer and do better?
Okay. That's a rhetorical question.
Right, but it makes sense, right? Because you're paying them more and they produce better. It's just how life works. But there are a lot of people are saying, because I've worked with these people, I want to find somebody, fantastic that works for peanuts. Well, it's either or.
Okay.
Because there are certain things I don't think we should be saving money on. I'm not saying pay $50 an hour for somebody that's doing a clerical job, but I'm saying when you pay a little bit more and you understand because you're investing, you're not investing in the employee, you're investing back into the company, because employee is piece of the company.
That's right.
They're part of the company.
Right.
So it all goes, but I've seen a lot of people that are cutting costs. Again, cutting costs is necessary occasionally,
right?
Because you don't want to be silly with the expenses, right? You have to look at the budget, you have to look at the numbers. But it's very also important to understand, is this an expense or is this an investment?
Okay.
Those are two very different things. Okay. Because if you're running a business and you believe everything is an expense, I don't know how you can really grow or create a quality product.
Okay.
Because in order to create a quality product, you have to invest more. It's an investment.
Right.
You have to invest more.
Wonderful. Well, I think we've clarified the term and this phenomena. And so you, as a coach, walking into a company where you're hired to bring the income, bring it up, and you realize that you're dealing with a person that's really not very flexible and used to their ways, and that really doesn't have the vision that you may have for them. Do you walk away from there, or do you say, Regina, this is a challenge? What would you do?
So it depends. I believe there are some people that say they want help and they really don't. That's not my customer. I am, because I work with adults, I'm not here to talk them into their success. I don't want people that I have to talk them into, please do this so you can do better. They have to want it.
Okay.
Like we're not in kindergarten. You either want it or you don't. But if people push back against me, what I do is, because it's easier for me to have a global vision, I have a bird's eye view. They're just in their so that's why I have the benefit of helping the companies, because I see the global picture.
Okay.
I'm emotionally detached.
Right.
So I can think logically.
Right.
Typically, CEO cannot think logically. First of all, they're in it every single day.
Right.
And they're emotionally attached. So their decisions are wobbly sometimes.
Right.
I see the global picture and I'm emotionally detached. That gives me the advantage of helping them. So if I know that they're pushing back against me and debating and arguing, my strategy would always be is I give them a little few things to implement or to suggest or to change. When they see that it actually works, what I'm telling them, they now have historical evidence that what I'm saying works.
Right.
Like you said, with your company, we had one conversation.
Yes.
Whatever happened, the CEO applied it. He got the benefits. So now, if he talks to me again, it's no longer I don't believe her. It's like, well, I have historical evidence.
Right.
Let me try it again.
Right.
So I'll start with the little steps. We'll start with the little step. For me, the biggest thing is that the CEO wants the company. That's the biggest thing. I've worked with people who really hate their companies, and it's the weird concept. It's a very weird concept. I've worked with people that are mad at their companies because it's in financial distress. But you're the CEO. You've made the decision. The company is not a living thing. It's somebody has to drive the ship.
Well, it's pretty common for an employee, not to like the work. It's common. I mean, most of us choose a job because we want to eat and we want to have our rent covered, and we don't really do enough. Which brings me to a very interesting story I must share with you. But
Tell me.
Somebody came for an interview. I come from interviewing. Well, I used to be in HR for 30 years. I still am a recruiter, and I recruit people for different kind of professions, in a company. And I had an interview, a very interesting interview that kind of left a mark on me. And she asked me, this is a woman, she asked me, when I was interviewing her, she asked me, how many times have you cried in this company since you worked here? And I looked at her, and I didn't know how I should respond. So I counted, those moments when you count to 10, like, wait a second, before you speak, count and come down a little. So I responded to her because I did cry. I was honest.
Yeah.
I cried. I cry not every day, but there were times where, things didn't work out my way, and things work out differently and didn't work out for the best of the interest of the company, and I cried for that. That was a sad experience for me, but that's it. I hired that girl. I recommended her to come to work for our company because this is a person with a heart, and this is a person that will not be afraid to ask or pinpoint at something that may need attention in the future. I like that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So it's a personal experience that's but it was first time in 30 years one person
asked
that question. So that was very interesting. So going back to money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about money, because I promised everybody we're going to talk about money and nothing else, because we can talk about money. And this is TLA Radio, you guys. Money Talks. And we'll be here every Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Correct.
We're talking to you about money, how to make money, how to save money, how much to save money, how to open a new business, how to retain your employees. We're going to be talking about all of that. So we'll walk you through. So if you have any questions and you have a business, or call us, text us. We're happy here. We're here for you. Regina donated her
my time,
very valuable time. You're a high rate paid professional, and thank you so much for that. I
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate that. TLA is a lucky place.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
So money. Some people make it, some people don't make it. You give a person $100. We'll start with small, okay?
Yeah.
$100. By the end of the day, until the last penny is spent, that person hasn't come down.
Sounds like my teenage daughter. Yeah, sounds like my teenage daughter.
And another person, you give them $100 and they make thousands out of it.
Yeah.
How does that happening?
Most people think short term. Few of us think long term.
That's it.
Long term, short term. Yeah. A lot of people are, what can I get out of it today? And a few people are, how can I make it last and make something out of it?
Okay.
Yeah, because it's easier to spend versus to make more. Right.
That's very true.
I was recently talking to somebody, and I pointed out that there is a reason there is less people. I don't like saying it at the top, but let's just for the purpose of discussion, there is less people at the top, and there is more money at the top. Like, nobody really thinks about it. Think about it. There's much more money at the top, and there's only a few people at the top. Why is that?
Why?
because most people think short term, because most people are not willing to take the risk and the action that it takes to go all the way to the top. You know, I'll also give an example to somebody. If you walk into a high-rise building like we have at the Wilshire Corridor or in Las Vegas, for example, well, let's stay with Wilshire Corridor, you know, you have these multi-million condos. The condos at the top, they only built, 2 or 3 penthouses at the top, maybe 1.
Right.
Why is there more units at the bottom versus less units at the top? Because less people can afford it. Why? It's all available to all of us.
True.
But why only 1 or 2 people can afford it at the top? Because 1 or 2 people are actually willing to do the work to earn the money to get it to the top, right? They're not building penthouses that are $15 million each on the first floor.
Right.
They're building them at the top on only a handful, sometimes 1 or 2 only.
Right.
And dozens of units. And think about it, the higher up you go, the less units you have. And the bigger they are, the more spacious they are, the more luxurious they are, and the more money that they cost. Why is that? Because people will settle for ground level because it's safe versus going all the way to the top.
Do you think people just don't want to work that hard? I mean, it's hard work.
I think if people believed that they could achieve it, they would work harder than they work. Most people don't believe that they can do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all mindset. It's always mindset.
It's all
Always mindset.
There was a broadcast before us, and it was a guest who spoke about that. She talked about, you know, the mindset, the visualization. She's an NLP specialist that talks to herself. So we can imagine ourselves into a certain accomplishment. We can, you know, use our,
Imagination.
And that's enough.
Well, you got to take action. Sitting on a couch eating potato chips saying, I'm going to live in a penthouse, I'm going to live in a penthouse, I'm going to live in a penthouse doesn't get you to a right. You still have to get off the couch, to take off your pajamas, put normal clothes on, and do the work. It's it's a combination. Sitting on a couch, you're going to end up on a couch. You can say, I'm going to be a millionaire all day long. You're still going to be sitting in the couch in the same dirty pajamas you were wearing the night before.
Right.
You still have to back it up with action.
Right.
But saying all these things to yourself, believing that you can, puts the action into place.
Right.
People do not, they can't see themselves in the future. So people dimension jump. What I mean by that is everybody goes into the future, sees a horrible picture and brings it into today and starts functioning today based on what they saw. You haven't been in yesterday. Like, why are you traveling there? Like, you haven't been there. But think about it, even if you talk to your friends, just do like a study. Nobody goes into the future and comes back with a good picture. Everybody comes back freaking out. Nothing's working. I lost all my money. My wife left. It's all a mess. But there's a reason for that, because we're not there yet. Like, where are you going?
Right.
We can only use but also people use historical evidence every time something didn't work out.
Right.
But the reason we only remember things that didn't work out is because we're emotionally attached to it.
Okay.
We remember the emotion, not the feeling. Because if I ask you right now, Ilana, give me a list of things you failed at or didn't work out.
Right.
We fail at something every day, multiple times.
Right.
You're only going to remember things that you failed at that you have an emotional connection with, that emotionally hurt you, because your body stores the memory, right?
Right.
So when it comes to business, a lot of people remember the stuff that they failed at.
Right.
But then I tell them, make a list of things you succeeded at. It's much bigger.
Right.
But we're not wired to celebrate the successes.
Especially businessmen, because let me just throw this in there.
True.
Because businessmen are there's a book that was written, and I think we mentioned that book is Who Moved My Cheese.
Yes,
It's a super smart book for salespeople, but it basically focuses on it instructs the owner to focus on things that are wrong. Find out who's stealing, find out who is doing things behind your back, find out things that damage your business. And good things don't damage your business. The bad things in business damage your business.
Well, I think if they only live at that level, it's paranoia at its highest. So when do they have time to actually be productive and make good decisions, right? If they're just running around all day long looking who's stealing for them, when do you have time to really be a CEO? I think it's a combination. I don't know if I would recommend to my CEO nonstop just to pay attention to the negative, because you can lose your sanity. When do you have time to make money if you're constantly on oh my God, they're stealing, they're this, they're that, right? But it has to be a balance. You have to be aware of what's going on.
Yes.
So for small businesses, a lot of the times, unfortunately, the CEO has to be aware of everything, because a lot of small businesses, the CEO doesn't have the cash flow
Right.
to hire people, like top management, to watch and babysit the process.
They doesn't have the
A
money.
lot of the time they don't. Like they run the production floor, they're overseeing the bookkeeper, they're doing all these things.
So let me just go back a little bit. So in your experience, and how long have you been doing this?
19 years.
So you've been around the block. You've seen it. You've seen a lot. So from your experience, the CEOs are the people that don't have really time to do what?
If it's the reason small businesses fail, one of the reasons is the lack of infrastructure, because they don't have the time, they don't have the money to put in the correct people in place, the qualified people in place. So for example, they will put in a bookkeeper in place that they can only afford to pay $15 an hour. The only thing the bookkeeper will do is enter the bills, pay the bills, do the stuff, right? But a great accountant, a great bookkeeper is going to look at the numbers. They're going to analyze the financials. This is wrong. They overcharged us. Get some POs. The POs for $5. This is for $7. There is a discrepancy. Call the vendor. You guys they're overcharging me, right? Somebody like that goes far beyond their job is no longer $15 an hour.
Right.
A lot of small businesses don't have the money to do that. They don't have to. They don't have the money. They have the money to hire a production manager if it's a manufacturing facility. That is good enough to babysit the floor so nobody cuts their hand off because they're using equipment.
Right.
A great production manager is going to say, okay, it's supposed to take 5 minutes to create this cup. You've been on this machine for 6 minutes. Where is the bleed?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And time is money.
Time is money. So somebody like that who goes above and beyond and cares about their job more than clock in, clock out, no longer costs $20, $30. They cost more money. So a lot of small businesses don't have. So what happens is they have people in place, but it creates leaks and it creates more work for the CEO.
Right.
Because now he has to say to the production manager, everything okay, everything okay, everything okay, everything okay, versus knowing that they're going to handle it. So,
and CEO, basically, his job is to bring in business.
A lot of them don't have the money for the sales staff. Yeah, his job is to bring business. So think about it. If their job is to bring business and they have to babysit the production manager, babysitting the floor, and babysitting the bookkeeper, because I've seen literally bookkeepers who just pay stuff without checking, because my job is to pay it, so I click a button and I print the checks and I send them, right?
Exactly.
So a lot of businesses fail because of the lack of infrastructure, and it's not their fault. They don't have the money to do that.
Right.
But because a lot of CEOs are, this is kind of, it's like we just pulled on a thread and I can go for hours on that. Because CEOs, unless they have a sales staff, they have to constantly sell. And a lot of also businesses get in trouble because they sell just to get the money in, even if the jobs are not profitable, because they're just trying to pay this payroll and pay this bill and pay that phone bill and pay. So it's like
they're in a cycle. There's like a circle that they're stuck in.
Cycle.
It's a cycle that they need to come out.
But the thing is that the spiral goes this way, not up.
It goes down.
It goes down. It goes down.
Okay. Well, we have to fix that. That's not happening. We have to help those that are working so hard and seeing very minimal results. There is hope out there. You guys can definitely reach out to Regina Gulbinas. She can help you with that. I promised some friends that we will talk about how to start a brand new business. A lot of people right now are going through a what they call a generation restart. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah. We're over all the what do they call them? What's not allowed, all the things that are stopping us from moving forward. Yeah. So now people are talking about opening new businesses, and there's all types of businesses. But one specifically was asking, is this a good time to start a food truck business?
As long as the areas are open and people coming out, I think it's a great time because people have been cooped up for over a year. They want to get out. They want to walk on the streets. They want to go to events. They're actually more, I think, especially the younger generation, we are more ready to get out there and be out there now.
Right.
So I think a food truck is a fantastic idea.
There is a food truck culture here in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Yeah, because again, people want to get out, and it's summertime. Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah.
I think I thought when they asked me, about if this is a good time, or food truck is, versus a restaurant where you sit down and because food truck is something different. It brings in a different kind of, I think, a younger crowd. Would you say?
I think, you know what? I don't know, but I think it's more based on the area.
Okay.
Where you're selling, where you're parking.
Okay.
But food trucks, I think you can move from area to area, right? Because it's mobile.
Right.
Food truck or restaurant, I think the overhead for restaurant is insane. Most restaurants don't survive.
Right.
I've heard from people. I work with catering companies. She had a restaurant. We closed it. It wasn't profitable. We closed it. We moved everything to catering, high-end catering. She was making money. It wasn't worth it. And also in the restaurants, I think like the first 12 or 18 months, you're not really making money. So you better have money put aside for rent, for utilities, for employees, because whether people are coming in and ordering or not, you better have fresh stuff on hand every single time.
Right. So food truck is a very affordable way for a first-time owner an entrepreneur to start something that's relatively affordable.
Plus, think about it, you don't have to buy a truck. There is places here, I've gone to see them with the client I'm talking about. You can rent food trucks. You can rent them, I think, a few days a week, or you can rent them for a full-on, you basically have it and it's yours, you park it. I think they even give you lots of space to park it, but you can rent it a few days, but they're like fully functioning.
So fully functioning food truck.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. You just rent it for a day or whatever you want to do.
Different contracts, yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah, there's one in, I want to say Burbank. I think we drove to Burbank because I wanted to see them.
Right.
I think Burbank, but there's a lot. You can just Google food trucks for rent, and they're like fully equipped, kitchen, like they're ready to go.
Right.
These companies are specifically renting food trucks. It's fully ready to go.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little yay or nay session.
Okay.
So I would say we say yay or nay for food truck.
I like yay.
Yay.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like it.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna fold our sleeves right now, Regina.
Okay.
Right? We're gonna fold
let's
it up.
go. What are we doing?
We're going to get to work.
Okay, let's go.
And this is a question from a business owner right now.
Okay.
I have an employee that is not showing up to work. He is not producing anything when he's not at work. But when he comes to work, his production is like 200%. He works like crazy. He works, and amazing. But he does not show up full week. He works out of 7 days a week. He is able to pull through 3 days. The other 2 days, he disappears. What should I do? Should I keep him? Should I fire him? What would you recommend?
Well, my first question is, have they ever been able to show up 5 days a week to work? Is it something new? That's my first question. So is this a new behavior?
Okay.
Number one. Number two, I would talk to the employee. What's the problem?
Okay.
Number three would be the job requirements. Every job should have a list of requirements. And if the job requirement is for them to be 5 days a week, you try to understand what the problem is. You try to see if you can solve it. I would tell them you're very, very valuable to the company, but not 3 days a week. The company needs a 5-day-a-week employee for this position needs, and a company needs a 5-day employee. Can you facilitate it or not? Can you be here 5 days a week or not? And if the answer is not, the CEO has to make a decision. Can he run a company on somebody at 3 days a week? You see what I'm saying? So I would find out what the problem is, number one. I would understand, I would find out what the problem is. I would explain to them the job description, the needs of the company. And I always tell people, look, this isn't what I need out of you. This is what the company needs in order for us to be financially profitable, in order for us to be successful, and in order for me to keep paying you on time. Because if you expect me to pay you on time, I expect you to be aware, I expect you to show up on time.
Okay.
This is the job requirement. Are you able to, or are you not able to? And sometimes you gotta let good people go.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So another question that we have is from a young lady who is working for a very, very difficult boss. And she is, everybody's quitting in this company. She said that people are quitting, people don't last more than 6 months, and they quit. She's lasted the longest. She's been there for 4 years, and she's considering leaving, and she's not able to. Her question was, should she stay?
You know, it's. I will never tell somebody to quit because they have bills to pay. Only they can decide if they should quit. How can I tell somebody, you know, leave your job, go, you know, I don't know, if there's kids involved, if there is a family, it would be irresponsible for me to tell them quit. It's a very personal decision. It's a very personal decision. If she knows, if this individual knows that everybody's quitting, it's not a healthy environment, then it's only a matter of time until she ultimately still quits, right? It's only a matter of time. Start looking for another job while you're working. Start looking for another job. If she can afford to quit financially and not work for a time and look for something else, you know, do that. But if it's completely unbearable, then start looking for another job.
It sounds like it's pretty unbearable from the story that when she talked to me and explained what is happening. I actually advised her to contact a lawyer because there was a lot of abuse. And this is what's happening a lot. You know, people are ashamed and embarrassed to stand up for themselves, even though they're being abused in their job situation. You know, and it's to me, it's unacceptable. I just, you know, it's
I understand you.
Yeah,
no, I get it. Yeah, it's tough because sometimes people will stay, they need the money, they need to pay the bills, and I completely understand it. It's such a personal decision.
Yes.
Yeah, such a personal
Let's
decision.
touch on those people that are super successful and are striving there in business world. And, we all taught that before you open a business, you should have a business model. And I'm noticing that not everybody really has a business model. People have a dream. Do you think that people that are super successful started out with a business model, or do you think they started out with a dream?
With a dream. With a dream, yeah. I don't think you can achieve anything unless you can see the goal, the end result. Unless you can see the dream, and it's just you just gotta go. You just gotta go. Yeah, I dream. Yeah.
Very good. So it's a dream.
It's a dream.
You dream, and you believe in your dream.
Yeah.
And it will come true. And I have to tell you,
I believe it.
I believe too. I do believe dreams come true.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we've covered everything we can cover about. If you guys have any questions, and let's see if we have any questions. We have a lot of people that are listening right now, and I'm going to see if anybody has any question that would be relevant and appropriate for you. And I just think that business, I can talk about money. Just money is we all could use some money. When somebody asks you me a question and say, do you have enough money? And I say, yeah, thank God. God has provided for me because I'm a faithful woman, and faith. Is that the right word?
Faith, yeah.
Faithful woman. So God provides, but there's always room for improvement.
There is always
room for improvement. Yeah. And so I'm not great at technology, so
Neither am I. We're in the same boat.
We're in the same boat. I'm much better talking about money. So let me see. I have some more questions that I'm going to ask you with we have some time left for this.
Yeah, we have about 20 minutes.
So we touched we talked about the employees, and we talked about something that's very functionable. We're talking about a functioning business model, even though we don't have a business model yet. Would like to build a business model for actually the truck. The person that wants to start the trucking business, food truck business. What is your take on delegating? Delegating responsibilities to people. Some people have that skill very easily. Some people just will tell you what to do. Go do this and nonstop. And some people don't. Some people rather fold their sleeves like me, and get it done.
I don't think you can grow a successful large company if you don't delegate.
Okay.
How are you gonna do anything if you're busy doing daily tasks? I think when we trust people and trust their abilities and trust in their power and trust in their level of intelligence and trust that they care, delegating is much easier. The reason people struggle to delegate is because we do not believe the other person will get it done correctly or the way we like it.
So what if that person has to say to themselves that's having trouble delegating? I mean, is there like a keyword or is something that they can say to themselves, I don't have to do it all, I can? Is that the right talk?
The right things to say to themselves is that if I want to grow, I have to trust my team. If I want to grow, I have to trust my team, because otherwise you're stuck in the minutia of a daily stuff. So why even have employees?
Okay, so it's trust. What we're talking about right now, trusting.
Believing in the fact that people care enough to do the job well. Because a lot of CEOs that have, again, you see, going back, it all kind of comes back to the same thing. Going back to what I said, small business owners don't have the cash flow to hire very qualified people. So a lot of the times they also are afraid to hand off important tasks, not believing they're going to get done well because they have the evidence that they're done somehow good enough. And when it comes back to the desk of a CEO, the CEO has to finish the job or do it again. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it's a waste of time, because if they have to go through that cycle of delegating this, it's not going to get done. It's going to be mistakes. It's loss of money, loss of time, which is loss of money, and then they have to redo the whole thing themselves. So forget that. I'm going to do it myself.
That's where it stops. Yes, but the way it should be. So if I give you something to do, and you come back and it's kind of almost done, but it's not exactly the way it should be, because you just care about doing it, but you don't care about doing it well, right? You bring it back to me, and I'm the CEO. Most CEOs, 99% of them will take it back and say, I'll just do it myself.
Yes.
You go clock out and go home.
Right.
I tell my CEOs, we don't take it back. We sit down the employee, we explain to them again how it should be done, and we give it back to them. We don't touch it.
Right.
Here is why. When you do this enough times, this employee is going to know that it's much better to get it done right the first time, because you're going to kick it back to them every single time. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they become better and better. Okay. You are building a better and better employee. You're empowering them to be better and better every single time, and you're teaching them, don't give me half-ass work. I'm not going to take it. Amazing.
Regina, you just actually, I'm going to ask this question anyway because I love this question, but I think you just told us what it is. You just answered that.
Yeah.
But what is your strength? Like as a coach?
My personal strength?
Your personal strength, yes.
I'm very blessed that God gave me some really good things. Number one, I fully understand people and money. Fully understand. But I understand people at the very basic level, which is the most important level, with the core level. Why people do what they do, how they function, how to talk to them, how to make them move. I have the gift of showing people that they can do much more than they think they can do. That's a huge power in me, because I'm putting the power in them. I'm teaching, because if they believe they can do it, they're unstoppable. Because business doesn't matter. If they believe they can do it, they'll do anything in the business. And I have a gift of pulling people's gifts out of them. So like I can sit at a room of 10 people, and I'll say, this person is good at this is good, then you do this, you do that. So then it's very productive and profitable, because I understand people. Amazing. And another strength is being very direct, and it works,
Fearless.
Brave, direct, it works. I mean, I don't like to waste time, and we get to the point, we get things done, and I like to move. I like to just keep things moving.
And I think that's an admirable, model, because in business, that's what it is. There's, like I say, I keep repeating myself, but time is money.
Absolutely. And people complicate stuff all day long.
Exactly. If you can't do it, leave the boat, or bring it on. How does one asks for a raise?
Well, first of all, if you're going in to ask a raise, make sure you've been doing a good job. Right?
Absolutely.
Number one. And number two, it's very easy. You can say, look, I've been here this long, or I know I've been doing these tasks that are contributing to the bottom line. I've been trying to prove myself. I've been doing. Do you mind if we evaluate? I would love to be considered for a raise. Can we evaluate my performance? Would that be doable? If the CEO says no, be okay with it, because you don't know what's going on in the company. Everybody wants money, but nobody's really there making the money, right? They're just doing the daily task.
Right.
The company may not actually be able to afford it.
Well, a lot of employees, what they do is they see the CEO, and they see the cars, and they see the outfits, and they see the jewelry, and they see that they're making money. So why not them?
Okay, so I believe that people should be paid. People should be compensated fairly, not just on their position, on their level of involvement, on their level of care. So just because there is two people in the accounting department, one may really be $30 an hour because the way they think, and one is only $15 an hour. I don't think they need to get paid. They can be doing the same job, but do it very differently.
Right.
One cares this much, the other one cares enough from 8 to 5. Very different employee.
Right.
But so I don't believe paying somebody $5 an hour if the company is making $10 million a month. There's a gap on that.
Right.
So I believe paying fairly, but a lot of employees are upset at the CEOs for having nice cars and doing that stuff. Well, you don't have to work there. You can go open your own business. You can take the risk. You can make the investment. You can be your own boss. You can do all the things, because all the things that the CEO did are available to the same employee. What's the difference?
Right.
One took the risk. One put skin in the game. A lot of people mortgage their homes to open a business. A lot of people deplete their savings accounts, their college funds for kids, saying, I'll make it back later. People, I've seen this all day long.
Right.
So people really put a lot of risk into building a business.
Right.
So they get to drive a nice car because they've put skin in the game.
Right.
You can't just say, I want it, and because I want it. It's not a smart statement.
Right. Well, it's there are different types of people, and there's different types of perceptions, and what brings it back to don't judge the book by its cover. If something is shiny, it's not necessarily it's a diamond. But as far as the employee goes, the employee is an essential part of a business, and performance of an employee is directly affects the production of the company. And it's really, we as business people want to keep our employees happy and productive, and give them as much in abundance. But at the same time, we have to make sure that the profits of the companies are affords all that. So, but as an employee, I want to go back to that question because,
please, it's very good.
I wanted, people to be able to understand when is it time to ask for a raise? When is because the conditions of the business is not sometimes what you see, but when is you as your an accomplished career? You've been with the company for say 5 years. You worked hard. You've dedicated your life to the boss and making sure that everything gets done, and this is who deserves a raise. This is a person that really should be. And people are afraid to ask.
Well, the right time, if there is no seemingly financial problems like if you're saying the CEO is ripping their hair out, they can't pay the payroll, and you ask for a raise, not a good time, right? Common sense. But if seemingly things are okay, and you've done the job, and you can justify your request, then if you're afraid, that's on you. Go. But I also believe there is a way to say anything and still keep the relationship healthy. When you're going into the office saying, I demand the raise, bad approach. If you're going into an office saying, I've been here for this long, I believe I've been doing a great job for the company, I love being here, I would really love an evaluation. Would really appreciate it. Because you're still talking to the CEO of the company.
Right.
Period.
Yes.
So their conversation has to be with respect, both ways. It has to be respectful both ways. And again, if the CEO says no, because the CEO will always have an information that the employees don't have.
Right.
Always.
Sure.
So if he says no, don't assume it's no because you're not worth it. Don't come in pissed off the next day and walk around angry and poison
Right.
the whole company, right?
Right.
But take a no as a no because there may be factors that the employee doesn't
Right.
know.
And perhaps, perhaps that employee can say to themselves, this isn't, now it's a no, okay? But
Yeah.
maybe in a couple of months,
Yeah.
maybe they can ask that, the business owner say, may I ask you again in a couple of months?
Absolutely.
And that
Communication.
would leave the door open.
Communication, yeah. I want to add something else. You talked about an employee watching a CEO drive a nice car, right? And just all the things that employee
Right.
sees.
Yeah.
And again, keeping it respectful with integrity, with respect to people that they're still getting paid well, but the CEO will always get paid more. Because also the employee also forgets that not only the CEO puts skin in the game and does all the things, the CEO every single day holds the bag for all the liabilities, for all of the risks, for all of the chaos, for all of the problems. The CEO steps up front and says, I will hold all the chaos so you have a place to go work and feed your family.
Absolutely.
Employees
Absolutely.
never think about that. I'm telling you, I have seen so many employees just hate and be pissed off at the CEOs, and the CEO is like on a hamster wheel trying to make sure these people get paid while they hate them. I've seen it many times, and it breaks my heart, not for the employee, for the CEO.
Right. Well, it's because they don't see what it takes to run a company.
No.
And it's at the same time, again, as a business owner, you want your employees to be happy. And
100%.
and if you do have an employee that is, not happy and every single day that they're late or they're not, it's a form of stealing, by the way. I have to say, if somebody comes, when somebody doesn't come to work, so it's time to let them go. There's an employee that if they poison the culture of the company, because a disgruntled employee can do a lot of damage.
I will tell you this. I worked with a company. They were it was a while ago. I think they were was it a trucking company? No, some sort of steel manufacturer. Anyways, I can't remember. But remember they were transporting things statewide.
Okay.
And they told me we have an employee that does most of the production in the company. But he talks bad about us. He's horrible. He poisons everybody. It's constant chaos, but he's the best producing employee. What should we do? I told him, have a conversation. These are the rules of the game. Can you do it? Can you not? And he was telling them, you can't do this without me. And when he started, you can't do this without me, I told him, you guys can fire. I would fire him. I said, you make the decision. You're the CEO. I would fire them. Their productivity skyrocketed because nobody was poisoning the well.
Right.
Nobody was poisoning the well.
And sometimes it's worse to bring another person to do one person's job. Sometimes it does, especially when you let go of somebody that's really was damaging, and so hiring. Because that's what they're basically the torch of theirs that they're carrying. Like, I'm doing all of this, and you don't appreciate me, and it's like a child. That's.
Employees typically feel unappreciated and underpaid.
Yes.
It just comes with the job. I'm not saying 100%, but probably 99%. It just comes with the territory.
Right. Listen, it's the rightfully so. Employees really, there's some great employees, and they dedicate their lives to the company, and but this is the culture. This is a business. We say in business, it's not personal. It's all business.
I believe in paying people more than the job position maybe requires if they are an employee with a CEO mindset. There are people, very few of them, that are an employee with a CEO mindset. They can look at stuff and care about your business as if it was their own business. They just don't want to put that much skin in the game and take that much risk on. Those employees, I believe, should be paid double, triple, quadruple, whatever you can.
How do you differentiate? How do you see that this is the employee that you have in front of you?
At an interview, it's very hard to do. A lot of it is, I'm personally very intuitive, energetically intuitive, so that helps me a lot when I talk to people. I know pretty much right away who I'm dealing with. But in general, you will see them on the job. And a lot of the times, it's the questions that they ask or the steps that they take.
Okay.
Just they will ask questions that impact the bottom line that typically people wouldn't ask.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Amazing. I want to take a couple of minutes that's left that we have to this very important subject. I wore a white jacket today, and that was in your honor. because I think it's very festive and clean and professional.
Yes.
And I want to talk about the interview. The interview that we all go to, you know, you as a business coach, when you go to a professional interview, you as an employee, you're going to go to an interview for a job. You know, you as a salesperson going to presenting a proposal for a client. How you dress is super, super important.
Yes. You're representing the company.
You're representing the company. You're representing yourself. You are the one. In business, we have a saying: like attracts
like. Yeah.
like. So if you look successful and you look like you can get the job done, most likely you will get the job.
Very often, yes. I mean, sometimes it can be misleading, but very often, yes. The presentation matters. The presentation matters. Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. And on that note, we will conclude this broadcast. It was amazing, Regina.
Yeah.
Time flew by so fast. I mean, I had so much fun.
I did too. I think it's fabulous. I know it provided a lot of value to people that are watching. We'll watch it later. And
Absolutely.
yeah, if you guys have any questions live for next time or whatever it is, they can
And
send
you know what?
them in.
Take the second to plug in your company. This is the time to say where people can find you.
Yeah. Facebook and LinkedIn, my name, as simple as that. Yeah, Facebook and LinkedIn, people can find me, people can message me, and Facebook will probably be the quickest way to get to me. I check that more than I check LinkedIn, of course, and yeah, I'm here, but this is, I'm here for the people that are ready to do the work.
Amazing.
I'm not here to talk people into success.
I am ready to present you to the people who are ready to do the work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, TLA, for hosting this show. Money Talks with Regina Gulbinas and Ilana Weinstein. Thank you again. Love you all. We'll see you next